I think you can hear me. Fantastic. Before I forget it, I would like to thank both Engim and also the European Parliament members Donat-san and Topo for this opportunity to represent and bring the voice of the younger generations in this table with all of these institutions gathered here and on such important topics. So I'm Davide Girotto, as already said, the president of the International Coordination of the Young Christian Workers. For the sake of time, I'll just say ICYCW from now on. And as an international coordination, we gather and coordinate around 60 movements around the whole of Europe and the world. I will not spend too much time right now talking about what ICYCW does, as I'll give some inputs during my speech, so I'll move further on. And I just wanted to share the fact that among the movements coordinated as the ICYCW Italy national movements that has been cooperating with Engim for many years in order to bring and propose further opportunities of training and formation and also sensibilization and awareness for the youth that are gathered under Engim. I will try to focus on just three of the main threats that were shared and investigated thanks to this questionnaire. I know that I'm alone the last to speak, so everybody's attention is fading. I have so much to tell you, there's not the time, so please stay with me, I'll do my best. Also because I'm terrified by Marco's cooking timer, so I will try. And so let's begin. First of all, there was an interesting point of view on the relation that the youth has with respect to their adults, that generally are expected to be their role models. While in these results, we noticed that there are still young people that see and perceive the older people around them as role models, but there are also more and more people feeling like this role is fading. So no more recognizing the adults around them, and both at home and also in the institution, as actual role models. And much of this was already anticipated by the other speakers, so I just tried to add a few more points. But for instance, ICYCW is organized, built up, has the attention, and is made up also of young people. Obviously, the condition youth changes around the whole of the world, but for instance, in Italy, we're talking about 18 to 35. So this is both the gap, the window of people that are part of it, and also the gap of the window of people that we are focusing on. So, as many, I think, of the institutions gathered here, the younger generation is one of the main participants, but also of the main stakeholders on our actions. Or probably it should be a bit more, so I will leave it as a first suggestion to you all. Even in ICYCW, despite this attention to the youth, there's the necessity of organization, of structure, and hence of role models. So even here, we have also older figures that are expected to accompany the experience of the youth and of the younger generations through all of this. I'd like just to share very fast some attentions on the style that we expect ICYCW to have from the adults accompanying these younger generations. So first of all, the first step is listening, because there's very frequently the danger of not actually listening and perceiving and understanding the point of view and the experiences and the overall situation that the younger people are facing during their life. And hence the second trouble is imposing his or her own experiences and all their values on what is actually living another person, a different generation in front of us. So this is an experience that must be made together, not as an adult that indicates the way. In general, we notice hence also, and here I like also to add a suggestion as ICYCW representative, that there is a generation of people struggling to identify some role models, but probably they need them, hence they're searching for it as well. Many are probably already thinking about the social media as a first order place, but I'd also like to add the fact that why can't young people themselves be role models for other of their peers? This is a point of attention that we keep stressing and working on through ICYCW experience, where in all of our methods and experiences, we keep also gambling or pointing on the importance to have groups of peers that gather, organize themselves, and hence form themselves together. And by accompanying, gathering, and helping people that are slightly younger than you end up becoming a role model yourself. I am also here thanks to this. I had the opportunity to recognize in younger people around me a role model, and by giving myself, putting myself up to the responsibilities, I ended up becoming a role model myself before I even noticed that. So it's quite important as a personal testimony that I'd like to share with you all. Moving on to the second thread instead, for the expectations that we have from the youth point of view with respect to the work environment. Many of the things were already said, so I just give a further underlinement because it's a good practice to have it also from a young voice, so I will proceed to that. First of all, as young people now we are just certain of the sanctity. I mean, we really are struggling to imagine ourselves in a window of longer than 3-5 years. It's really hard, and this impacts even more the work environment and expectations. So we see that having no more linear career paths, recognizing that work is a place or a physical also residence is the trend right now. As many of us already shared, and also the youth shared from all over Europe, we are no more focusing and interested just in the technical skills. We're more interested in soft skills that may come in handful in whatever work and profession we are focusing ourselves. And I'd also like to add the fact that there's a sort of shifting interest of the main characteristics that as youth we want to find in our workplace. Let me just, yes, we're talking about salary, benefits that will never disappear, obviously, but there's more attention on the flexibility of hours, on the mission and the purpose of his own workplace, and also on how much we are involved in the workplace decisions. So these are just some of the main things that I like to add on this, and as I shared all of this with the members and the youth gathered through ICYCW around the whole of Europe, this was even more stressed, and we gave it even more importance. I'd also just like to add the importance of some mental well-being that we wanted to find or don't want to be put too much under stress through our own work experiences, and also hence in generally on the sustainability of what we want to do. We're not just talking, but also talking about the topic of which is the sustainable impact of my work, but we're also talking about how is humanly sustainable what I am doing, what I'm working for. Finally, there is the topic of the hierarchy of values that were shared in the last slides. And as overall, we noticed that there's some breaking point with the precedent younger generations, where the main values were family, work, and friends, and all the rest had a huge gap of importance from the younger generations in the past, while now everything is relatively more important. I would like to say in a more horizontal approach, where we notice and we perceive the fact that the young people don't want to be identified just by their work or their family, but by all of their experiences, all their communities that they are living into. And this is really important for what we are seeing, what we are noticing. I would like also to cite again the word silent that was used by Marco in the beginning. So this may be a sort of silent revolution that we are seeing in front of us, and brought forward by the younger generation, that is also impacting, I would like to say, the balance on the job market. So if you, as every market, if you don't pay attention to these trends, you may incur some issues and difficulties. To close, I just again like to stress on these things and on the fact that as YCW, we are training ourselves with the goal to be to bring transformative actions and impacts in our communities, all of our communities, and work is a primary community for all of us. First of all, because we are expected to bring so much of our energies and time on that. And as an Italian of 27 years old, I would also like to say that I don't even know for how long I'm still expected to work, but we don't have the time for this topic. So I'll very fast move to the last observations and possibly also request or points of attention that I'd like to raise to everybody. Maybe the European governments, the businesses of the VET institutions gathered here, and why not anybody else listening to us. First of all, the European citizens of the younger generations are interested to also move, to go wherever are best opportunities, but this comes with a lot of things unknown, for instance, of all that was shared before me, and there may be also still gaps in what are the actual necessities for somebody to see his experiences, his formation recognized elsewhere around Europe. So we'd like to stress this necessity. And also there's the necessity to measure more deeply, for also more qualitative point of view, the fulfillment of the studying and working experiences of the youth. We are in front of a very positive example with what NGIM has been doing and is continuing to do here. I'd also like to further solicit the businesses and the employers in the following practices, which are clearer communication of the purpose and the social impact of your work, of the institution, and also offer more concrete benefits, inclusion policies, and opportunities for participation in the decision-making processes of the younger colleagues. Moreover, there's the necessity to further design flexible and transparent career paths with growth milestones and opportunities for more internal rotation and review, and more value on the practical experience as the primary channel for developing the request of skills. I will then close with also 2 questions concerning the relation with adults, which is the topic that I started with. First of all, to hold the adults that are, first of all, in this table, in your mandate and your role model, are you actually behaving or feeling like your role models for the young gathered in your institutions, unrepresented by you, or are you actually fading in their eyes? And I would also like to add the tip for the parliament members that this is not simply related to how many young people are voting for you. And also, last suggestion, are you actually creating the opportunities and giving the younger generation the responsibilities that may let them become leaders themselves and role models for their peers? Thank you. I think I can leave the floor and also escape for breaking the timeline to Mark.